Hello and welcome to another episode of Games for All Extra. This week we're talking about Fallout New Vegas.
War never changes.
Fallout New Vegas is the follow-up to 2008's Game of the Year, Fallout 3. Now, Fallout's got quite a long history. Back in 1997, Interplay and Black Isle made the first one. That was followed a year later by Fallout 2. Then it kind of went quiet for about 10 years or so. There were a couple of spin-offs, but nothing too fantastic until Bethesda picked up the rights. Now, there was a lot of expectations on Fallout 3, and it delivered on most of them, but, you know, some of the die-hard fans of the original games were a little bit unhappy. Does Fallout New Vegas fix that? Well, I've only had a short time to play it, but I can say yes, it does.
Beg your pardon, but could I trouble you to turn over your weapons?
Set 3 years after Fallout 3, this time not in the Capital Wasteland but in the Mojave Wasteland, the area around Las Vegas and Nevada. It focuses mainly on two factions, the New California Republic and Caesar's Legion. Now, unlike Fallout 3, where there was definite good and bad side, the factions in this kind of more grey. Their New California Republic, I suppose, are good, but they're so bogged down by bureaucracy that they can't really do their job properly. Whereas Caesar's Legion, although they're murderous killers, they have a very sort of strong moral compass. But they're just a few of the factions. There are loads and loads of factions out there. Each one has an individual opinion of you, which can change depending on your actions.
Retribution! Retribution!
A lot of people are wondering, is this just more of the same? Is this just going to be like a DLC or an expansion to Fallout 3? Yes and no. The core mechanics and controls and presentation and graphics engine, they're all the same. It's pretty similar. Capital Wasteland, Mojave Wasteland. It does feel like the same game at some points, but there are subtle differences. I mean, New Vegas has a few little tweaks on textures and everything, but nothing groundbreaking. The main difference, I suppose, is in the story and the writing.
Sorry you got twisted up in this scene. From where you're kneeling must seem like an 18-carat run of bad luck. Truth is, the game was rigged from the start.
Like I said, it doesn't force good and evil decisions on you. Sometimes you only get bad decisions, you just have to pick the best one. The characters are written so well and the dialogue is so much better than Fallout 3, and that's kind of what Obsidian are good at. They have a lot of bad press for making bad games, but running on an engine that's already established kind of gave them a lot of freedom to focus on the creative side, and that really comes out. There are obviously a few little gameplay tweaks, like some of the enemies now have armour, which makes them tougher and harder to defeat, and you need to change your tactics accordingly. There are also, for the weapons, different types of ammo to deal with that. Like you'll have standard rounds, which will deal with most encounters, armour piercing, or various other like hollow point ammo and all that, which is very good at dealing damage against unarmoured opponents. So there's a lot of variety in the tactics. They've kind of sharpened up the first person shooter element, so it feels more like a first person shooter. When you're in first person mode and you hold the left trigger now, you actually aim down the iron sights and gives you a more accurate view of what you're shooting at. Also is the addition of crafting. Now there are three kinds of crafting. Before in Fallout 3 you could basically just craft and create weapons. This you can now do. There are a few weapons, there's different ammo types that you can now take, say your standard ammo. If you have enough components and bits, you can break that up and make it into armor piercing or hollow point, or various different styles of ammo. There's also a lot of collecting herbs and stuff, kind of like a throwback to Oblivion, where you would be collecting plants and things and mixing up potions. Here you can now collect various bits and bobs from the wasteland and create chems and everything that keep you going, and it really adds something different. And one of those differences is like the way you play. There are so many different ways of playing. Before, in Fallout 3, it was so easy to like max out all your stats and become good at pretty much everything. This one, they've kind of made it harder, so you need to focus on your strengths more. So instantly, from as soon as you create your character, you are blocking off some of the content because you just don't have the stat skills. Stats affect more now than just gameplay. There's certain dialogue choices that are affected by, say, your intelligence or your knowledge of guns or how good you are at surviving. And that's really a nice thing. It kind of gives it more replay value because you can create a perfect character for what you do, but then somebody else's character can be completely different and will have a completely different experience.
Hold up. There are death claws all over the damn place north of here.
In conclusion, this is the game that the die-hard old-school Fallout fans wanted. It has the writing, it has the witty humour. I've not spent very long on it myself, but I'm looking forward to getting back into it, and as soon as this video stops recording, I will be back on there playing. Thoroughly enjoyed it. And I can recommend it to anybody. If you enjoyed Fallout 3, get it. If you enjoyed the old Fallout games and weren't that into Fallout 3, give this one a try, it might surprise you.
Once they'd run off, I dug you up to see if you were still kicking. Turns out you were. So I hauled you off to the dock right quick.
Fallout New Vegas is available now on Xbox 360, PS3 and PC. Pick it up. Go for it. Got nothing to lose, except time.
If you enjoyed this episode of Games for All Extra, please check out our website, Games4allpodcast.com. There you can watch other episodes of Games for All Extra and check out the audio podcast as well. We are also on Facebook if you want to search for us, Games for All Podcast. We also have a Twitter feed if you want to follow us on Twitter. It's twitter.com/gamesforall. And if you want to email us with any kind of questions or anything, it's podcast@gamesforallpodcast.com. Games for All is going to be at the London MCM Expo on the 30th of October. Hope to see you there.